All right, if you're just joining us now, we are tracking a monster tornado. Started out in Springfield, Massachusetts, caused the damage that you are seeing there. That is live coverage that you're looking at right there. And we've gotten reports of trees certainly knocked over. We've gotten reports of roofs damaged and cars being tossed in this, trucks being tossed in this storm. And this happened right at the beginning of rush hour. That storm has actually only gotten more intense as it's been working off towards the east. Now a very well-formed, probably a large, very dangerous tornado now coming through southern Massachusetts and just south of the Mass Pike. So an incredibly unfortunate situation today, Greg.
And that tornado is within 10 minutes now of Oxford, Massachusetts, heading east at about 40 miles per hour. Dangerous tornado continues to be in progress.
Greg, so let's talk a little bit about the timing here. This is going to be moving over towards, that looks like 395 there around Oxford. Again, moving 35 miles an hour. That's not a very long stretch right there, so it's moving pretty quickly. What are we talking about in terms of timing moving into southeast Mass, into the Boston area at this point too?
Well, it looks like about 10 minutes to Oxford. We'd be talking near East Douglas, and about 25 minutes we'll be talking Whitensville here, about a half hour or a little less than a half hour from now, and then continuing over toward the shore here, Milford. That's probably about 40 minutes. North Bellingham, about 40 minutes, Bellingham, that time frame. Franklin probably about 45 minutes from now. So that's the general area where this tornado is heading.
So again, we are watching a very large tornado. Greg, this radar return, I mean, I don't really see a significant difference between this and what we saw in Alabama a month ago. This is very, very well defined and very intense.
It certainly is. We certainly have the intense debris ball. It's not going quite as high as what we saw in Alabama. The velocities within it not quite as strong, but still a dangerous storm. I'm seeing up here at about 3,500 feet. Velocities now that are about 65 miles per hour. So it showing some sign of weakening, at least velocity measured wise, but still a dangerous tornado in progress. We don't always get the full measure of this on our radar. And here is the tornado, that debris signature. We can't get all the way to the ground because this is the lowest scan of the radar. But there is the tornado leaning up toward the north and east as it follows along with its parent thunderstorm and so we may actually have the tornado circulation here going up perhaps 20,000 feet in the storm, and that being basically the tornado that we're catching here in my slice through. So I took a slice, you see there, off toward the north and east, and the tornado is pulled along with the updraft of the parent thunderstorm off toward the east. The whole thunderstorm itself is moving east, and the tornado leans toward, with that updraft, the updraft leans off toward the northeast in the parent storm.
Maybe we can take Max 7 right now. I want to show you a broader view of these two supercell storms that we are now watching. The southernmost one is the one that has been producing the tornado, and that debris ball, that very well-defined tornado, that now moving towards 395 in southern Massachusetts. Also, the northernmost cell now coming through central parts of Massachusetts and into the Worcester area, probably now about an hour away from downtown Boston, but certainly we'll see some impacts coming into the west side of the Boston area before that. And to get you up to date now, if you are just joining us, we have seen a tornado come into Springfield, Massachusetts, did produce some damage. We can take a look at some of the damage that we saw earlier today in the tornado itself. We actually caught it from multiple angles coming into Springfield. There's a live look at the damage now. This is the, I think, the Morrow Bridge that crosses the Connecticut River in downtown Springfield, and the tornado crossed right over that river and over 91 as well. And you can see as it moved over the bridge there, it actually turned over a semi, caused a lot of damage to roofs and to trees. We actually saw a building that was pretty significantly damaged there in Springfield, and then the tornado got worse. Now, as it moved to the east of that area, it moved into areas where we've got smaller towns, generally to the south of the Mass Pike there, right across 84 initially, now coming into 395. So we've got two very dangerous storms, certainly the southernmost storm, the more dangerous of the two, and these are generally, Greg, headed towards the Boston metro area.
Yeah, and they certainly are. The northern of the storms will come a lot closer than the southern one. The Both of the storms, as they've begun to rotate, have taken a little bit of a right turn. It's kind of like the baseball pitcher, the ball curves, and that's indeed happening here. Boston, you're likely to get hit by hail, but the south suburbs, the far south suburbs, have the chance of tornado. The storm that has the tornado on it is definitely going to go south of Boston. It's generally heading toward the Brockton area at this point in time, and we do have a new high-resolution radar scan that has come in, and it's giving us a little bit of good news, or some room for optimism at this point. Some graphics 14 shows that that debris ball, while it's probably still here, has definitely shown some signs of weakening. It's not that lavender color. And I want to point out for the viewers, just color alone doesn't tell you everything. This is lavender, here's lavender, but these are not debris, these are hail. These are up in the body of the storm where we expect to see that. Same in here. But previously we were seeing it down in that hook echo area. We do not normally get hail. See there, just a moment ago, we had that debris ball there. That is not where you get hail, that's where we have hail. So the good news is that in the past 5 minutes then, we have lost that debris ball signature. Here is the most recent, still very strong tornado or rotation signature showing up, but definitely has weakened compared to what we had seen. So the trend now in the past 10 minutes has been downward, green going eastbound, red going westbound, but at least at this level that is up at about 3,200 feet now above ground, I'm seeing velocity that's about a rotation of about 30 or 35 miles per hour, as opposed to what at one point was about 85 that I was seeing. So we're showing some signs of weakening. We have here some this little arc that's wrapping around, suggesting perhaps that some rain-cooled air is wrapping around the tornado. That is a little bit of good and bad news. One is that the good news is taking some rain-stabilized air and is helping weaken the tornado, but it also may mean that now it's getting a little bit murkier to see it, maybe rain-wrapped, and it was already going to be hard to see it if you were out due east of it because it was hail that was falling. So still dangerous storm. I'll zoom in a bit more here and we'll take a look at the location. So the tornado is in the area now a few miles to the east of Sturbridge, a little bit to the northeast of Southbridge, and moving off toward the east, still generally moving toward the area of Oxford, within about 10 minutes of Oxford in Massachusetts.
It looks, Craig, like it's going to be coming right into Granite Reservoir there, Buffinville Lake as well, Hodges possibly, then towards 395, then beyond that getting over towards Sutton, and then again to the south of the Mass Pike there may eventually make its way towards Milford if it does hold together. Again, we've gotten some better news here. The radar signature, the tornadic signature, not as well defined, but Greg, this has been a very intense storm. It's going to take a lot of time. These things don't just stop usually when they get this strong.
No, and sometimes they cycle. You can see that the storm continues to have a well-defined hook echo, so you can continue to develop new tornadoes. Sometimes one will lift and the next one will form after that rain-cooled air gets out of the way and it is able to tap in warm air again. Even though the main part of the tornadic rotation circulation of the northern storm has not yet quite gotten there, there's been a funnel cloud reported in Worcester, so don't want to lose track of that northern storm either. But the heavy rain and possibly the hail coming now into Worcester, Massachusetts, and some signs that the tornado circulation may be weakening for the moment in the storm that has previously hit Springfield, Massachusetts.
All right, right now we want to go to Jacqueline Campbell in Westfield, Massachusetts. And Jacqueline, I know that there was a report of at least a funnel cloud there. Did you get a tornado there as well?
Yes, there's supposed to be a touchdown on Shaker Road. I can see Shaker Road from my house, but I cannot see where it touched down.
And did you actually see this when it came through?
My husband and I noticed that there was a lot of debris floating through the air, and it was like forming a tunnel. And it got very dark out there. The thunder and lightning had stopped, and the hail, but we went to the basement. It just looked like it was going to form a funnel.
And Jacqueline, what did you think when you realized that a tornado might be coming? I mean, you generally don't get a lot of tornadoes in this part of the world.
It's scary, very scary.
I'm sure it is. And have you seen any damage in that area?
No, but for the last half hour or so, there's been so many police cars and everything on Shaker Road there has to be some devastation over there.
And were you following the weather today, or did you just happen to notice these storms coming in?
No, we did hear that there was a warning, but it wasn't for Westfield, but supposedly it hit Springfield and Westfield.
Yeah, it came right into Springfield. Jacqueline, thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it. Again, folks, if you're just joining us now, we had a tornado come into the Springfield area. As it made its way farther east, it became even more intense. There's a look at the tornado as it moved into Springfield, Massachusetts. This is coming in at the beginning of the rush hour. They don't have an incredibly jammed rush hour there in Springfield, but nonetheless, there were a lot of cars on the road. Some of those cars, some of those trucks actually overturned by the wind. There you see what we call the dust envelope there. That's the base of the tornado. You see the inflow coming into the storm. Debris in the air as well. It actually crossed the Connecticut River in downtown Springfield and then rapidly continued off towards the east. Came in and out of town in a matter of 5 minutes or so. And then as it made its way farther eastward across southern parts of Massachusetts, it actually became more intense. And for a time, Greg, we were watching a storm that was a very well-defined, most likely a large tornado producing a tremendous amount of damage. We saw that well-defined debris ball that we saw in Alabama with those storms in Tuscaloosa and Birmingham. Probably not as bad as those storms, but certainly it was very impressive.
And we do have confirmation now that in Sturbridge there has been a tornado there, has overturned vehicles on I-84 as it came across that area. That was moments ago when we were following that debris ball. Still, that would be this southern storm. That would be still the hook echo, could still develop and re-intensify, would come over toward the area just north of Woonsocket, head toward the Brockton area. The next storm is not as well organized. It in fact has a couple of cells there, keeps reforming on its trailing side near the West Brookfield area, near Worcester, going to head toward Framingham, head toward the far south suburbs of Boston. If we can go to graphics 14, we'll take a look at the newest update on that. And off to the left here is Sturbridge. That's where we saw the debris ball. I'll back that up in just a moment. Tornado now is sitting right about here, or at least what had been the weakening, what is now a weakening tornado circulation. We don't see that real tight green and red. Could be at location even here. That location would be just about 5 miles west of Oxford.
Greg, before you go, could you explain to our viewers what exactly they're looking at when they're looking at velocity right there? Why it is you can tell there's a tornado there?
We're seeing greens that are going eastbound and reds westbound, so I'm not absolutely sure at this point that we have a tornado. The place where they touch and are the biggest difference is right about in this location, but I'll back it up a few time steps here and you'll be able to see, go back one time step, and probably here is the tornado. It's gotten a little brighter green, a little brighter red. I'll go back one more and we'll be very clear at this point, just to the east of Sturbridge, that the very strong green eastbound, the strong red westbounds are the tornado there. And then unfortunately, we'll go back one more. And as it was coming into the Sturbridge area, we had a very strong rotation right there. So and that was where the debris ball, the debris ball was back with even the western of those circulations. We actually had a couple of them. So there is the debris. We'll step forward with that one then and see that the debris ball that marks the debris that's been picked up in the air enough that to get very high return on the radar came right across Sturbridge in that 5-minute period. But then we began to lose it. It's farther east of Sturbridge, and now it's yet farther still off toward the east. I'll move, but still a possibility of a tornado getting perilously close to the Oxford area. I would expect that we're seeing a rotating cloud aloft. With this, we do not have a very strong rotation signature.